Okay, so one thing I want to ask is like for everyone is like how has martial arts kind of like affected your life and what value has it brought to you outside of competition? Like has it changed you on a individualistic level? Has it changed how you interact with people socially? Um, how has how has being a competitor in a martial arts kind of changed you up until this point, up until present day?
I know for me, it's made me a lot calmer. Just in terms of doing, jujitsu, that aspect of someone on top of you just smothering you and going into panic mode has helped me in life. Training that 5 times a week, and just getting that feeling of when you're first starting out of losing your breath, being out of like feeling like you're just drowning. For me, it's helped just because with everything else, it seems so minimalistic, seems less stressful, when you're going throughout the day, just yeah, for me, I'm more likely to shrug something off like, all right, dude, you're just having a bad day, I guess. Um, and
Right.
approaches like that, it's helped me out in professional life. I'm getting frustrated with something, just take a deep breath, let it go on to the next day. You know, in terms of stuff like that, for me, it's helped me out in a bunch of aspects, personal life, job life, everything like that.
You you know what's dope, bro? Like for me, it helped me out in so many ways because I started so early. Um, so remember, I told you I lost a lot sooner when I was a young kid. So what it did, it taught me that you're gonna lose in life. Yeah, I mean, my first year wrestling, I got headlocked every single match. My neck was hurting and I was crying every single match. Fifth grade, so that's terrible. A terrible thing to experience because I've never been like that. But toward the end of the year, I persisted, I trained, and they taught me how to stop the headlock, and I ended up winning state year one, going from horrible to beating the guy that kept beating me, right? But it taught me that there's going to be bullies in life. It taught me that you're going to lose in life. It taught me like the reality and that I could work harder to overcome that reality, if that makes sense. And it just gave me a different perspective because a lot of people are going around like there shouldn't be bullied, blah, blah, blah. It shouldn't, but it is. It's reality. And you have to have a certain mindset in life if you want to make it, if you want to be happy, if you want to persist. So I was grateful to have that experience when I was young. So as I grew up, like I'm state champion, then I see the Ohio state champion. He built like a man. I'm still built like a boy, and I get dogged. But I was the big dog in Nevada. You know what I mean? Like I had to see that no matter how good I got, it was somebody else out there that was, going hard, and maybe they were better than me, maybe they weren't. But it taught me how to learn that love for the competition, and put me at that mindset.
I like that. Like it actually really like because one theme I would say from both of you, it seems like in terms of like conflict resolution, that's like one big outcome from it. Whereas like really understanding that, like you said, we can't get rid of bullies. Like life is full of them. They may not be formally introduced as a bully or anything, but life is all about conflicts and how we overcome them. And so it seems like that's something that both of you kind of experienced through your times as well.
Yeah,
I like that.
definitely.
100%, bro.
And I
And
know, yeah, go.
so yeah, I was gonna add to that. So I think that like I've really kind of experienced that as well. I did a little bit of BJJ when I was really younger, and I think at a young age it taught me like fighting out of a submission, especially a chokehold when somebody's literally taking the oxygen from you. It's not a natural thing to feel, or a natural thing to like have to psychologically like deal with or go through. It's
Right.
like simulated, like it's like drowning in a pool. It's really uncomfortable, and I think jujitsu, when you learn how to calm yourself down and fight out of that chokehold and not freak out and not panic, at least for me, like it's taught me how to deal with a lot of my problems in life. And I feel like anytime I run into something that's causing me a lot of stress, or I'm having a problem dealing with something, I can always kind of relate back to learning how to calm my breathing down and maneuver out of a chokehold.
like that. Like there was actually one portion of my life where I was actually a lifeguard, and having that feeling, I can definitely say from what you guys are saying too, it is very similar to kind of knowing how close you are to that last second of breath, because you never know, like, you never know when it's gonna be your true last kind of thing. Because I'll never forget one day we were doing training, and we had to dive into like a 12 feet, 15 feet deep pool, and our instructor, 6'3", maybe like 240, something along those lines. We were kind of, the test that we had to do was actually save him from the bottom of the pool and bring him all the way back up. Me, I'm only 5'9". At the time, I was like 150, 160. And so bringing him up to the water and even just kind of putting him on like the little flotation device, it's a challenge. And so we had to go down there all the way, lift him up, and he was doing whatever he could to make himself feel like dead weight. But you can actually you can actually feel and experience each one of the breaths just kind of getting closer and closer to like that blackout feeling where it's just like, what are you going to do in that instant? How are you going to get yourself out? And in that particular case, it's like, how are you going to save somebody else from that particular situation as well? And I do think with grappling, especially being so close to the conflict where you know that at any given moment it's a life or death situation, it now calms us where we need to focus mentally on how we're going to actually react to it. Because if we let our emotions react, it may not be the right outcome.
I agree.
Yeah, and learning how to rationally think about that when your life is on the line, I think there's a lot that can be learned from that, and then you can take those lessons and apply that to probably anything that you do in life, whether it's business or law or school.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%. Because like in my opinion, so like I took a sociology class back when I was finishing my undergrad, and for me, one of the concepts of sociology that stood out to me was conflict theory. And that's why I started framing my reference about life, like how we go about everything in life. There's always going to be some sort of obstacle or hurdle that we can either, embrace and overcome, or we can turn the other cheek and hope that we don't see it again. And I think with martial arts, it kind of showed us, and speaking from my perspective, it definitely kind of allowed me to be more willing to embrace those obstacles and really give it my all. There's no guarantee that I'll overcome it, but at least I can say there's a guarantee that I tried. That's the way I kind of view it, at least.
Hey, another dope thing, and the people that do jiu-jitsu, they'll kind of be able to reference that, or if they're young and they'll experience as they are, is like wrestling is so many different ways to wrestle, bro. There's so many different ways to do jiu-jitsu, different body types. Like Big Country, he'll sit his belly on your face. Had it personally done to me, and his freaking belly is like an extra limb, bro. And you cannot move. You're stuck. It doesn't matter if you're buff. You'll push into fat, and he won't go anywhere, bro. So, it's like there's so many different techniques work for so many different body styles, and it's not one way to do it. And that's something that you can take and put into your personal life, because you don't have to do anything like somebody else. It's another way to do it. It might not be the way that you're taught, but it's another way to do it that can work for you. You know what I mean? And that gave me like that perspective where like I look for different ways to do things, because everything doesn't work for me. I'm not aggressive mentally in the first place, so, but when I wrestle, I am aggressive. I like aggressive moves. Jiu-jitsu, not necessarily aggressive. So I had to find different ways and different mentors and teachers that can give me moves that were aggressive, because laying on my back, it just, for me, didn't make me happy. I hated being there. So, it's like different ways to perceive things, but it's all, grappling.
I have to agree on that. Just being in jiu-jitsu, you develop your own sense of style. After you get to a certain point, you start grappling in your way. What David said, different styles, different body types. I've trained with, Roberto Jimenez, who his style is very rapid fire, very chain attack. And for me, I'm more of the slow, steady, pressure, slow movements. So, just developing your own style. Like I agree, you work out your own way.
100%.
Yeah, one thing I'll say from experience, because I have rolled with both Dave Jordan and Will. And I will say that's one thing that definitely kind of like stood out because I'm kind of like the in between build between both of you, and it was definitely a very unique challenge in itself to kind of embrace them. Because like me and Will, we were able to. Will should remember this. We grappled like recently. It was a couple of months ago. So it's like I'm a big boy now. Like I'm starting to become big country, like you mentioned, or more closer to Daniel Cormier, I'll say. But even then, like when I was hesitant to kind of go, like, oh, Will, like there's a huge weight advantage. Oh, I'm not gonna say huge, but there's a decent weight advantage. And it's like, I would have to try to tailor that to kind of make sure I'm not just utilizing that purely to get like advantage and everything. And Will was able to find a way just using pure technique to work out of it and really, find the positions that he needed to get a couple subs on me and really make it where it was like still a challenge for both of us, even though he did get the best of me that day. But it's like, I think it really does explain like how the different styles that each of us has. And I know Will too, like being at Extreme Couture, you have active like UFC fighters. The heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou is there. So it's like dealing with that and similar body types there. I'm sure you've had like all kinds of like challenges that's come with your grappling experience too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about. Everyone said some really great stuff that I really agree with. If we just look at the way that the martial arts journey has impacted me specifically, it has a lot to do with what you're saying, which is that like, and like as a person, my brain like always needs stuff to do, like I'm kind of like a border collie. Like I can't just sit and relax and do nothing. And,
right.
And so for a lot of my adolescence, like video games were okay for that. But then I got to a point where when I was like 20-ish, where they really just stopped working for me. And so like now when something comes out that like I really want to play, it'll take me forever to finish something like the last Spider-Man that came out on PlayStation 4 or whatever a couple years ago. It took me forever to finish it because I can't just sit there and play a game for more than like an hour and a half. I can't do it. And jiu-jitsu, for whatever reason, because of what it is, there's always more to like figure out, right? And so when you look at going back to how everyone grapples differently and you build your own style and stuff like that, one thing that I like to bring up, which you all might have heard of before, is there's Johnnies, Spikes, and Timmies, right? And this is something that goes back to Magic the Gathering, which is a competitive card playing game, but also applies to like fighting games like Street Fighter and stuff like that. And it has to do with the way the characters are both designed and the way that people play them. So spikes are the people, if we apply it to grappling, they're the people in your gym who 100% of the time always come and they bring their A game and that's all they do. They don't care if you're a brand new white belt, it's your second day. If they got a good guillotine, they're going to guillotine you. Like all they want to do is come in and guillotine people as many times as they can, if that's what their A game is, right?
Right.
Johnnies, in general, are the archetype that only cares about flashy stuff. So if they like, flying omoplatas, they'll start from the feet and they'll go 8 matches in a row, 8 rounds in a row. And every time they get back to the feet, they're looking for that flying omoplata. And if they get one that day and everyone else smashes them because they know it's coming, they don't really care because they hit their flying omoplata, right? Timmies are on another end of the spectrum where they're there really just to hang out. They like the social aspect. So most people are a combination to some degree, right? Most people are a combination of Spike, Timmy, or Johnny or whatever. And for myself, I lean really heavily into the Johnny camp. I'm like a Johnny Timmy. Like I spent 3 years at least not really I spent 3 years accidentally having stuff that I got good at. And it was all reactionary. I have a good guillotine because I never really learned or cared to prevent someone from getting an underhook. So my answer to the underhook, right, from top side control or whatever, was just to pivot on my knee and throw a guillotine on instead of actually having a dominant top game, right? And it was the same thing like with straight ankles because it's the same, it's the same kind of hold or whatever, same grip. And a lot of the time you sort of end up there on accident. Like a lot of straight ankles are catch, you know what I mean? Like guillotines are. So for me personally, what martial arts did was not just let me be creative and give my brain something to constantly be figuring out. Like even now when I'm at home, if I'm not doing anything, I'm probably watching some instructional or You know, I'm like, I'll be messaging my main coach. We just talk theory all the time. Like, it's gave me something to think about all the time that I couldn't ever run out of stuff to think about. And then actually doing it, I'll grapple for an hour and a half and you know, I'll be dead, but like, yeah, I can go another round, you know, like mentally, yeah, let's do it, you know, because over and over and over, you can approach every single role and you can do something completely different. You can, you know, you can do jazz jujitsu and just let it happen, or you can run a route. So yeah, so that was the biggest impact like on my life was you just can't get sick of it, you know? And so now that I'm starting to kind of really like stand up also a little bit, as I start to realize that there are a lot of things, you know, on the feet that you can do that are similar to the way that you can approach a grappling match, right? Like we had a boxing coach tell us the other day that most amateur boxers, they need like three moves. You know, you need like 3 combinations. And then you need to get good at those 3 combinations, finding openings for those 3 combinations, and then yeah, go be an amateur boxer, right? And you can say this same exact thing to someone who's just started grappling. Like people get to their blue belt being good at triangles, you know what I mean? And so once he said that, and I kind of made that little bridge in my mind, then I'm like, yeah, maybe I could check out stand up a little bit more. But yeah, so for me, that was the biggest impact, was like just having something I could think about all the time, and you can never run out of content. Like you can never run out of questions to ask, you know?
Yeah, see, and I will say I'm very similar in that regard, where I love the social aspect of it, but then also I do like the flying stuff. Not flying stuff, I mean the flashy stuff. A little bit of flying too. Because like one thing that me and Dave Jordan used to always talk about, I wonder if the same approach kind of applies to striking. I think it would, because David knows once I first started out, that I was using those instructionals. I was on YouTube heavily. Like the 2 channels that I started off with was Submissions 101, which was 10th Planet, and then Quan Kicker, who does like Taekwondo, Muay Thai instructionals. So I would try to bring those techniques into the gym. And like you said, when it works, oh, dude, it's amazing. Like I caught a flying triangle before, multiple go-go platters, and a couple of spinning back kicks. And Dave Mazzagatti knows, like, you know, we're gonna start working those soon. But Dave Jordan, my cousin, when we were at the train, he used to come in with the sound, you know, like you said, like the sound foundation, where it's more so just like nah, you're not catching me with that today. And even to the point where he would kind of get a little trolly, like you're saying, like everyone has their own different styles. So I'll never forget it, because he was doing it full time, I was doing it part time. Never will forget this. 2 things is like I was very flexible, so they would call me like Gumby in the gym. So I would rely heavily on that flexibility, but David wasn't having it. Like he was just like, nah. And he's the first one to armbar me. Never forget that. And then 2, once I started learning like some more flashy stuff, I'll never forget it. He actually did a spinning triangle from Spider Guard in no gi. Dude, I was pissed. But I think it kind of goes down to like that rock, paper, scissors kind of approach. Like, you know, who's really focusing on just like those foundations versus who wants that flashy kind of like look at me highlight reel moment. So I think that's really unique that you brought that up, because also even with the expansion of MMA in the mainstream, we're really seeing the amount of instructional videos online grow significantly. Like we can learn from legends from both striking and grappling. Like for me, I love watching Galval. A lot of him. A lot of I can't think of the other guy. I can't think of the other guy right now, but I'm a huge fan of his.
Gordon?
No, not a recent guy. He's definitely like a legend in the sport. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, but it's like we're able to learn so much from those traditional martial artists and make it the more mixed martial artists that we are today. I would say even from all of us on the call, it seems like we are, even if we're not in MMA, we still have that mixed experience of being mixed martial artists and having some sort of relativity between multiple different disciplines.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, I thought you were about to say something. My bad.
I think everybody was about to say something. No, that is interesting, bro. Because I remember back in the day, you used to always come in with like new moves from YouTube. But the thing that people miss out is you're learning moves, but you don't learn the correct positions for your body in terms of you can't
like weight distribution, getting controls.
Right. And that's what you need before you perform a move, because good position lets you do almost anything you want to. you know. So you had moves, you had flexibility, but you didn't always know the position, you know. So for me, that new position, it was like, well, I could kill that with good position sometimes, you know. And that's really all that was. That was my experience. Was I can always be in a good position, and that's something that wrestlers have inherently because we don't work submissions. Literally, all we work is be in good position. So when we learn
Having
jiu-jitsu,
control.
right, when we learn how not to get choked out and what to stay away from, then we can always rely on position, you know, and that like kind of give us a leg up a lot of times. That's why jiu-jitsu guys hate wrestlers, you know, especially when they learn. At first, they'll just choke us out, but you know, once we learn, it's annoying.
Yeah, agreed. Wrestlers with sub defense, not fun.
Just got off the clock, just got on my chill. Called on my homie Brent to see what be the deal. What you trying to do? I'm just trying to heal. Hella floated, never bloated's what I'm trying to feel. Hop in the whip and